This is the Mitsubishi MU2 by Inibuilds, I believe it is. It's available in uh, the Microsoft Store, the App Store, whatever you want to call it, but it's available there. And yeah, it's one of the famous Flyers airplanes. And yeah, so this is what the outside looks like. This livery is the executive white, and I happen to really like this livery. So that's the outside. The inside, like this. This is considered the glass cockpit right here. If you look to your left, you have a iPhone. And what the iPhone basically does is, if you have Navigraph, you have a map here. You can also have your settings here. So, case in point, this is glass cockpit. You turn it to no, and that's what you have. So that's the old school original. And of course, this is the passenger setup here. And let's see. You have the cargo variant set up. This is what the cargo looks like right here. There's cargo. I'm going to go back to the passenger setup. I prefer the passenger. So, a few things you need to know immediately about this airplane. Number one, it is not forgiving, and everything happens fast. It is also not all that. It's also not as stable as you would expect a twin-engine turboprop to be. So when you're flying this airplane, you have to be on your P's and Q's. If you're doing a long flight, autopilot will definitely keep you on course and on altitude. If you turn that autopilot off, you must be on it. You got to stay on your scan. You got to stay on top of this airplane, because it will get away from you. And it will get away from you starting with taxi, because this turboprop, even at idle power, will move you forward pretty rapidly. So when you take the parking brake off, make sure that you also are ready to hit the brakes, because it will move forward, especially after start. This does have reverse thrust, so short field shouldn't be a problem. But just know, you have to stay on top of this airplane, and you have to stay on speed, because you can go fast and you can go slow really quickly. That change does not take long. Landing is going to be particularly challenging. It's going to take some practice to get this right. So just be aware of that. This can be a very fun airplane to fly, but it is a challenging airplane to fly. Because I've already crashed it twice. This is the third take of this video because I've crashed it twice. So let's go ahead and get it started. This does interface well with the alpha yoke and the Bravo throttle quadrant. So you can use those switches and they work out pretty well. So let's go ahead and turn on the master. Now you have to go to the panel to turn on everything else, as far as some of your switches, like your fuel switches, because they're not mapped. Mine aren't mapped. So put that auto and start, throttle condition. Oh, it already wants to crank because like I said, it's the third time. So it's already set up to start, and they're both starting at the same time. So I'm going to just switch those to run and call it good. Typically don't start them together, but like I said, I had this set up to start. This is the third time I've had to do this. So just be mindful. video, we're going to take a short flight. I'm going to go ahead and put in direct to, we're going to go to Sullivan Regional. So the identifier is Kilo Uniform Victor, or KUUV. We're departing from Creve Coeur Airport, which is 1 Hotel 0. And I'm just going to put direct. Instead of going Farmington, that's what my last 2 videos went, was to Farmington. I'm going to go to KUUV. That should be about a good 10 to 15 minute flight. Going to KUUV. Now I'm going to see if you can actually change that here. Departure. So it doesn't look like you can. So is here. Wow. Nope. So with this, I'm not really sure how to change that here. I guess you'd have to go to Navigraph and change it. And see, there's no changing. So there's no changing that here. Yeah, no changing. So you'd have to literally do that from Navigraph. Okay, so enough about that. Let's go ahead and turn on our transponder. And let's begin our taxi. One thing to note, this is the taxi setting. Once we get to the runway, I'll put this in the takeoff setting. So, now watch how fast it starts to move. We are. Park brake off. Little bit of power, and look at that. It moves quick and it's going faster as we speak, so now I have to back off the power, tap the brakes a little bit. Also, something to notice too is that, well, I don't have a high-end system. I'm using a 3060 NVIDIA GPU and an i7 processor. So this particular airplane actually uses a little more FPS intense. So I get these micro stutters, and some other airplanes that aren't as resource intensive, I don't get these micro stutters. So okay, 10 degrees of flaps. Make sure the final is clear. Some throttle. see just how fast this is starting to roll. Alright, and you see how fast we're climbing. Gear up. Flaps up. We're already at 1,000 feet. Because that's the airspace top. If I go past 1700, I'll be in Class Bravo airspace, and just like that, you gotta stay on top of it. And everything seems to happen really quickly, even when I make small corrections. So that's the challenge with this MU2.
Spirit Tower Mitsubishi, November 292 Zulu, is type Mitsubishi MU2 2 miles north of Kilo Charlie Hotel, Golf 1,500 feet. Requesting transition.
Mitsubishi November 292 Zulu, transition approved. Report clear of Spirit Tower airspace. Maintain on navigation.
Will report clear Mitsubishi Niner 2 Zulu.
So our climb up. Our course line's going to take us through this Spirit of St. Louis Airport, or Kilo Sierra Uniform Sierra. That's going to take us through that airspace, so I got clearance for it. And there you can see it cleared. There it is, Spirit of St. Louis, or KSUS, or Kilo Sierra Uniform Sierra, however you want to call it. Right here. So once we get past this airspace, we're going to climb up to about 3,000 feet. Because that'll get us out of Class Bravo airspace. Our ceiling will be 5,000 feet. We're going to go to about 3,000 feet. So we're almost there. Practice. And think about the trim on this airplane. A lot of moving parts. Part of this is maybe I think it's the nature of just Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's a lot of constant movement with this airplane. So like I'm really on it. I glance down for a second, something gets thrown off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn. I can climb up to 3,000 feet. Go ahead and put my OBS to GPS. Turn off my tracker first. makes turn off the tracker makes things easier to get when you zoom in on them. All right, so now we're at 3,500, which isn't bad. See, it just gets a curfew just that fast. All right, I'm in GPS. I'm gonna hit my autopilot. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to descend. 3,500. Now I'm going to turn my autopilot on. Altitude. Nav. Okay, so now that everything is stabilized. Another thing you want to be careful of is that if you're using Bravo throttle quadrant and you're using the buttons like I did because it's just faster than using these down here, and then try to look up here and do all this stuff at the same time, you want to make sure this is in GPS before you hit your nav. If you don't do that, then what will happen is that your nav will cut off and the airplane will go any which way. So you want to make sure you have that set to GPS before you engage the nav button on the autopilot. Also, you want to have your altitude before you hit the altitude button. So we're about, let's see, let's go to, about 6 minutes out. According to ForeFlight, we're right on course. But according to there is no course. So that could be a right. So this actually should have switched to here. That's the course line I'm following. So that's kind of an issue that they need to address. All right. So now, minutes, let's go ahead and get to our ATIS for
Spirit Tower Mitsubishi Niner 2 Zulu is clear of the Spirit Tower airspace.
Mitsubishi Niner 2 Zulu Spirit Tower frequency change approved.
yeah, so some things should have changed. So what I'm doing now is just announce a full stop landing. We're actually going to make straight in for Sullivan. Just makes more sense. Now, this is the tricky thing about flying this airplane. If you once we turn this autopilot off, you really got to be on top of it. It'll climb and descend very quickly. So we're gonna go ahead and turn off the autopilot and set up for straight in to runway 24. Autopilot is off. I'm gonna set up for runway 24. Like that, 3,500, 4,000 feet. Gotta get back down on our altitude. Runway's in sight. Down a little bit, a lot of it actually. Begin to descend. Gear down. Flaps. Now, watch that airspeed indicator. Because once you drop this gear down, you got a lot of extra drag. So now I'm going to try to trim this. There we go. Really have to be careful. 2 nautical miles away. Up another 10 degrees of flaps. I'm kind of high. Just for the pitch. Center line, center line. There we go. Got the reverse thrust in, and we have made it safely to Sullivan. This is also the 3rd attempt I've done with this airplane. So just know, they may take you a couple times to get this right, but once you got it, you got it. So that was a review of the MU2, and I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, blue skies and tailwinds.